Hey friends, welcome back. I'm Jen, single mom, artist, and entrepreneur, and this channel is all about building a life that you love. Now we're going to do something a little bit different today. Today we're going to have a conversation with my friend Melissa Cox. She is a certified financial planner, and she also wrote a book called Future Focused Wealth. And her book is all about building wealth. Now, because of Melissa's unique take on building wealth, she feels, and I agree with her, that this book is particularly great for moms, and that means it's great for you. So, without further ado, let's get to our conversation with Melissa. I hope you enjoy it. Hey friends, I am here with Melissa Cox. She wrote Future Focused Wealth, How to Build Financial Freedom at Your Own Pace. And I wanted to let her talk to us today and answer some questions because I think that what she has to say is going to be really, really valuable to you as a whole, my viewers. So, hi, Melissa. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me on. This is exciting.
I'm excited too. I think that you have a wealth of information to share with us today.
I do.
Well, let's get right into it. Life is
All right.
busy, chaotic, and full of unexpected expenses for all of us. So it's not really a big surprise that for most of us, financial planning kind of falls to the bottom of our to-do list. When
Yep.
everything in life feels super urgent, kids, work, laundry, bills, what's one realistic step women can take today to feel more in control of their finances?
It's just about being present and being aware. I really like to have my clients and people that I'm working with and coaching be very intentional. We've got the kids, we've got the parents, we've got literally everything coming at us all the time. And in some sense, we've kind of gotten to a point where we're on autopilot for a lot of things, especially our finances. So when we're starting to look at finance, we really need to learn by or start by becoming aware of where we are, taking a current inventory, non-judgmental, but just making sure you're taking a day to sit down, go through exactly what it is that you have. You can start with a budget and then start by building and looking at your accounts that you have, your goals and everything. But being aware situationally of where you are financially is going to be the best first step that we can take to start your finances.
That makes perfect sense. And I think that a lot of us are probably not quite as financially literate with our own stuff as we probably should be. Definitely.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's just something that, I mean, call it generational or call it a taboo, maybe to talk about money. And it's just something we kind of put on the back burner because there are so many things, but it is so important to be aware of where you are with your money, just because there's so many different feelings and emotions that come with it. For some, money is a sense of making sure that your freedom and you can spend and buy things. For others, it's a source of shame because you don't necessarily feel like you are enough when you're comparing yourself to other people. So there's a lot of emotions and everything to come into money, and understanding it on your own and being able to stand on your own feet and understand your finances really is going to be the foundation to moving forward and creating the wealth that you want at your own pace.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk a lot about being intentional with money. What does that actually look like for women who are pulled in 100 different directions every day?
Yep, we're exhausted. We are
Yeah, we are.
exhausted. How do we do it, ladies? How do we do it? Being intentional is something that takes a little practice. It doesn't come automatic. It's not like you wake up one day and bam, you're doing exactly what you want to do because the kids are at the grocery store asking for this and somebody needs this. But being intentional really is about making decisions based on purposes. We're wanting to be able to give our money a job, and we're wanting to be able to do things not out of panic, not out of guilt, or just because we're exhausted and we need the kids to be quiet for 10 minutes while we get some privacy time in the bathroom or wherever it is. So being intentional with your money is about aligning your money with your values. If you want to take the night out and go do something, make sure we're having money set aside to do that. Either it's date night or a special occasion with the kids or whatever it might be. But really being intentional and putting your money to work, knowing that we're proactively planning smaller things.
Yeah, those 2 or 3 night a week fast food runs because you just are too tired to cook are those add up fast. Those are a problem.
Oh my gosh, it is. Fast food and convenience, it is, and DoorDash is just it's insane how much people spend on it, and not even knowing that we're doing it. And once you're digging into your finances and looking through and seeing how much you're spending, it can be very humbling sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one I'm guilty of personally.
Me too. Me too. And finances aren't about being perfect. It's about messy action sometimes. So we're gonna have days where we are just exhausted. Maybe the day didn't go as it was, and it seems like everything is coming down on us. And sometimes it's okay to run through Chick-fil-A or DoorDash or whatever. Just we're not going to do it all the time. We're going to try to be a little bit more intentional about it so we can plan and be able to put that money to work, to make it do what you really want it to do.
Right, absolutely. What are, along that vein, what are 3 simple money habits that busy women can start today, even if they're not good with numbers?
Even if we're not good with numbers, that is a very important phrase right there. So the first thing that I like to do is really to try to automate savings. We automate things like bill pay, we automate things like mortgages, tuitions, yada, yada, yada. But automate some savings for yourself. Either make it transfer, $5 a week into some account or a little bit more. Automating your retirement account so it is automatically pulling out of your paycheck and going into account for your future. So that's the first thing that I like to do is automate your savings, because even $5 a day or $5 a week really can add up over the long time. The second is going to be pick one day of the week where you can do a 5-minute check-in, look at your balances, look at your goals, look at anything coming up for the week, and check in with your money for that week. And then number 3, the most important thing I think you can do is name a specific goal that you're working towards. Because if you're not naming goals and if you're not expressing them and giving them a purpose, then what are we doing? It's just like you're putting money into an account, but you don't know where you're going with it. Not like on a road trip, you start driving, you have to have somewhere to go. So if we know that we have a goal that we're working towards, maybe it's buying a new house, maybe it's saving for college, maybe it's buying a new handbag for a job well done for the year or something. It has a name, it has a face, and you're able to visualize that goal. And it helps when you're starting to save money for these things.
Yeah, I agree with that completely because if you don't know what it is that you're saving for, it's easy to get off track and decide, well, I don't need to save this today.
Exactly. Yeah. What are we doing? $5 doesn't matter. It's all in my savings account. And the next thing you know, 4 days later, $5, over the course of time really drains that account.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, you say that personal finance is more emotional than mathematical. I actually really agree with this statement. What do you mean by that, and how can we use that to our advantage instead of feeling ashamed about it?
Money isn't math. And we all hear girl math. We hear all these funny terms that go around. Money's not math. If you want to know a dirty little secret of mine, I'm awful with math. Awful with math. Now I can do basic adding and subtracting, multiplication, but I'm not going to do derivatives and all of this stuff. Psh, we don't need that for money. Money is about the safety, the identity, and the self-worth that gathering it, saving it, and giving it a purpose really creates for us. It makes us feel safe. Women feel safer when they have money in their bank account, when they have an emergency fund, when they have something that they tangibly have their hands on, and they know in an ocean situation, we can get ourselves out of it because we have something saved for it. We're not going to feel stuck, or sometimes people will feel ashamed if they don't have, as much as other people. But once you understand your emotional patterns around the money, it helps us to stop doing things like stress spending, or completely avoiding your bank account, not wanting to check in, not looking at that credit card statement, just because, maybe you've done a little too much. So working on the feelings and the emotions around some of your spending, especially if it is not necessary spending like bills, housing, food, all that stuff. We're working with those feelings to understand the patterns and everything around our purchases and why we're making them.
I think, personally, I believe shame is the biggest thing that keeps us in debt.
It is. It is. And it is a very hard thing to get out of. It's a hard thing to forgive yourself for.
Yeah.
And what I really coach people is around is your choices are not who you are. Your finances are not who you are. You are still a person. You're still you because you're unique. You're gifted. You're loved. And everything else that comes with it. Your money has nothing to do with that. It provides us things like safety and support. But fundamentally, we are who we are because of who we are, and not necessarily because how much you have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's easy to lose track of that, especially for those of us who are single moms, and um, money is money is rough when you're a single mom. It is. And there's a lot of, even when you just add in the topics of child support and all of that, like there's so much guilt and shame wrapped up in the money of being a single mom specifically, that, oh my gosh. And it's not any really better when you're married with a partner. It's just different.
It is. It's different. And with kids, it comes with, we want to do what's best for our kids. We want to give our kids the world. You hear kids coming home with name brand shoes and this and that and all sorts of things. And you feel guilty in a way that you can't necessarily always provide that stuff for your kids.
Yeah.
And that's not how we show our love. You can't buy love, as they say, but it's being there and supporting your kids and being able to show them healthy financial habits is going to get them a lot farther in their lives instead of that new pair of Jordans or whatever the cool shoes are these days.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What's one money myth you want to debunk for women, especially those who've been told that they're not money people? I hate that whole girl math term because it drives me insane for this reason.
I know, me too. I understand it. I don't understand it. It makes me laugh, and I think it's also maybe a little bit of a crutch. But you know what? If it works for you, I'm not judging. I'm here to support you, and we'll work with your finance around it. Um, I hear so many money math things, like you have to be good at math. I'm not. Here I am. I'm a financial planner, been doing this for 20 years. I can help you with your finances and get everything. I can't do calculus. I made a D 4 times in that class. I couldn't pass it to save my life. Sorry, Mom, but that's where we are. With money, and some of the myths is a lot of people will believe that they'll never be good at money because of where they started in life. If they came from a household that's not necessarily more affluent, if they came from a poor household that was scrimping and saving to pay the bills, a lot of people in that situation will say, yeah, I'll never be good with money because of where I came from. And it's the same as on the other side, is there's people that are raised in very affluent households that have no clue what money does. And so that is the biggest myth that I don't like, because money is not about your background or about where you've come from and your beliefs around money. Money is really about education. And it's a gap in that education that helps you understand what money is and why it helps you get to where you need.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you on that. So, your book, Future Focused Wealth, encourages people to go at their own pace. Why is that especially important for women and moms right now?
Because we are so caught up on autopilot, and we are so influenced by everyone out there and seeing what everyone else is doing, and we're wanting to give the same kind of things for our kids, for our families, comparing, and that's not good. We want you to focus on yourself and know that you have got certain goals and needs that you want for your own life. So maybe somebody does value the big white picket fences and all of the traditional type stuff. Maybe you want to live comfortably in a house that's paid for within your budget, be able to take vacations because maybe traveling is a priority in principle for you. It's going to be about what you want in life, not what you're told. And you're going to do that slowly. We all are in very different financial situations, and these different financial situations is what really inspired me to write this book, because every one of the clients that I've had over the last 20 years, every single person has a different story. And when you're going at your own pace, then things feel better to you. You're able to be more intentional with your money and know that you're making good decisions based on who you are and what you want. We're going to have setbacks in life. It happens.
Yeah.
But we should be ready for those by doing a little bit of preparing and having, emergency funds and stuff. So sometimes you can give a little bit more. Sometimes you can't. It's really about your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm personally saving for a trip to Italy right now.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, my daughter is going to be studying abroad next year, so I'm planning to visit her because there's no better excuse.
Make sure she's studying. Mhm.
Well, I'm not worried about that so much. I know that a lot of us feel behind, whether it's in saving for retirement, paying off debt, or even just having an emergency fund, which we all should have. What's the very first step you'd recommend for someone who is feeling like they are behind the times?
Um, the very first step is to stop and face the numbers. And
Oh,
for
gosh.
some people, it's going to be really scary what you see. And I'm smiling because there is a sense of empowerment that ends up coming from that sense of being scared and knowing that, oh, we're not exactly where we thought we are. So you're going to start by looking at your bank account, looking through your expenses. You're going to tally up your debt. If you have student loans, if you've got credit cards, everything. You're going to write everything down. You're going to write down your income. And the clarity that you're going to get just from going through your finances is going to be a big eye opener for a lot of people.
Yeah,
And at
absolutely.
that point, you're going to pick one small action. It's either going through all of your expenses and looking for those vampire sucking subscriptions that you don't remember that you signed up for, but oh my gosh, there's $40 a month. Setting up automatic transfers. It's going to be one small thing at a time at your own pace, as long as you're doing something to move forward.
Yeah, yeah. When I first got divorced, the scariest part was looking at all those numbers and just seeing how bad it was.
Yeah, and I felt the same way when I got through my divorce. I had $60,000 in credit card debt, and figuring out a way to get that paid off was really overwhelming.
Yeah,
And you get it done though.
you do, but you can't if you don't know what you're looking at.
Exactly. And you can't if you don't have a plan, because making minimum payments on stuff isn't going to get you anywhere.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, I know that we live in a world that is full of comparison, especially on social media. How can we stay focused on our financial journey instead of getting stuck in the what I don't have mode?
Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics. And I talk a lot about money dysmorphia. Money dysmorphia is getting the sense that it's a lot like body dysmorphia, where you're not feeling aligned with your actual situation. And what we really have to remember is social media is going to be highlight reels. It's not like people are going to be constantly posting what an awful day they had and sounding more like a country song where you got run over by a train, and all the jokes and everything that I grew up with. It's about knowing that you don't have to compare yourself to people. And you shouldn't compare yourself to people because you're not seeing the entire picture online. You're not seeing that what they're showing you at the moment is a beautiful house, but if you turn the camera around, it looks like a complete mess because that's what it's like to have kids. You might have one corner of your house clean, and with your money, it's the same way. Maybe somebody has a beautiful, expensive car or a nice handbag or something, but what you don't see is the amount of debt these people are in, knowing that they're not generating the income to support that lifestyle, and they're relying on some source of income that might not be feasible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the things that I strive to do with this channel here is to be transparent because I'm not raking in hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm not. And my house isn't
No,
perfect. Oh my gosh, it's never perfect.
no, none of us are perfect.
This is
But
real
what
life.
matters, exactly. But what matters is that you need to align yourself really with your goals, your value, and your life, not anyone else's.
I love that. I love that. What is one small shift that you've seen completely transform someone's relationship with money? Because I think that's really the big key is our relationship with money. My dog is fussing. I don't know why.
One small shift is really naming that goal. And a few years ago, I was volunteering with a group here in Dallas and teaching people budgeting and teaching people to save. And in that group, I saw a remarkable transformation in one specific woman that year. She was on disability and had a very limited budget. So she said her goal was to be able to afford a bus ticket from Dallas to DC to watch President Obama become inaugurated.
Oh, wow.
That was her dream. And it was important to who she is and her background. And she did it. She came in and she started saving just a little bit each week and a little bit each more week when she saw her balances increases. And there was 2 weeks right around inauguration that I didn't see her, and she didn't talk about meeting these goals regularly. She kept everything kind of quiet. And the next time I saw her, she had the biggest smile on her face. And I said, honey, what, are you okay? What's going on? We've missed you. And she talked about getting on the bus and going to DC and watching him become inaugurated and being able to make that journey because she was empowered just by naming the goal and starting to set aside money. And it changed the rest of her life, actually, because it encouraged her to go out and find a job and not necessarily live just on disability, but be able to earn just a little bit more income so she can do things like that. It was just, it was a tear-jerking situation because the empowerment and that was given to her when she truly thought she would never be able to save up any kind of money.
Yeah, that's amazing. Really being able to just see that you're capable of fulfilling that goal is hugely empowering.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is. And it's very life-changing. And just keep going with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you are a certified financial planner, a business owner, and a mom, and you still found time somehow to write this book. So, what was your secret? How do you protect your time and energy while building wealth on your own terms?
I don't even know.
That's fair.
I don't even know. It just kind of happened. No, that's not the case. Well, maybe a little bit. I try to really be intentional with things. I am learning to set boundaries. I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and boundaries are a tough place at the
Oh,
moment,
yeah, they
but
are.
learning those boundaries, learning to give yourself grace and to be able to be flexible with your time. I don't necessarily have a calendar. Sometimes it would be I'd have 10 minutes and I'd have a great idea. And one of the things that I like to do when I get stressed is journal or write. I do a lot of blogs the same way, and the next thing I know, here you go. So a lot of times it was 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I'd start writing or start making notes for a chapter. Sometimes it was after the kids went to sleep, right before my husband came in, and we're doing our nightly routine of watching whatever show we're watching before bed. So it's just finding those little moments. Sometimes, it was setting boundaries where I'm not going to go to your parents' house this weekend because I need a little time for myself. Um, and then there were other times where I felt the weight of the world because the kids were sick and my mom was sick and everything was happening. And I know I didn't have the time to write. So allowing yourself grace and being flexible, but knowing that you're making yourself a priority at sometimes is really what helped get me through a lot of this. And on the flip side of that is I'm a huge believer in financial literacy, and it empowered me to know that I could potentially change a lot of people's lives by sharing my knowledge in a way that people are really going to understand it and hopefully change a lot of lives.
Absolutely. I love that. I think that that makes a big difference. When you have a passion behind something, you make it a priority.
You do.
And if it's important enough, you find a way. That's kind of like my little motto. If it's important enough, you find a way. And that's just kind of how I have always kind of lived my life, is
Yeah.
just knowing that I'll find a way to get it done, whatever it is, whether it's something I need time for or something that I need money for or whatever. You find a
Mm-hmm.
way because it's important.
It is. It is. And I heard the expression the other day when I was visiting an uncle, and he said, how did you find time to do everything? You're so busy. And then he stopped and he laughed and he said, you did it because you're busy, and busy people do things. And that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, it is. It is. This is my downtime right now with my glass business because it's not market season. And I find it a lot harder to get real work done when I'm not swamped.
Yes.
I thrive
Yes.
on the chaos, apparently.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of those boundaries that we're gonna have to learn about. I don't like going on vacation because I get stuck in the rat's race of knowing everything else needs to be done. I do. I thrive better when there's pressure and stress and everything. So I'm 100% with you on that
Yeah,
one.
a little bit of chaos is a good thing.
It is. It is. Yeah. A lot of chaos, not so much, but a little bit is healthy, I think.
Yeah, I agree, actually. Well, it was so great to talk to you, and I appreciate you coming on today. And I hope
Thank
that
you.
my viewers got some good little tidbits out of this. I feel like I did. Um, Tell us again where we can find your book.
So at the moment, you can find it on Amazon for Future Focused Wealth, or you can go to my website, which is futurefocusedwealth.com, and there'll be a link there to purchase it as well.
Perfect. And I will put a link below as well so that my viewers can get to it from this YouTube video.
So,
Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm going to let you go so that I don't take up any more of your time. And again, just thank you so much.
thank you for having me.